So in the second question, we also need to collect the definitions of properties of stochastic process with the following 8 process. So the first one is wide sense stationary process, and a stochastic process is called wide sense stationary process if its mean is a constant and autocorrelation is a function of time difference. So the second one is that the independent increment process. The independent increment process means xt1 minus xt2 and xt3 minus xt4 on non-overlapping intervals are independent. And the third one is the macro process. A process xt is called a macro process if the past has no influence on the future when the percent is null. So the fourth one is the normal process. So a process xt is called normal process if the random variables xt1, xt2 to xtn are jointly normal for any n t1, t2 to tn. And the fifth is the static sense stationary process. A process is a static sense stationary process if its statistics is not affected by a shift on the time axis. So the sixth one is the white noise. A process Vt is a white noise if the expectation Vt equals to 0 and RV_T1 T2 equals to QT1 times delta T1 minus T2. So the seventh one is the mean ergodic process. So if a process xt is a mean ergodic process, it will have the properties that the limitation t tends to infinity, the reciprocal 2t and the times the convolution from negative t to t xt dt equals to the expectation xt. So the last stochastic process is the martingales. So if a process xt is a martingale process, it will have the properties that the expectation xt based on xx equals to x1 equals to x1, where s is smaller or equals to t. So after all, we have collected definitions of properties of stochastic process of these 8 following process, and we could find that each one has its own properties to become a specific stochastic process. For example, the wild sense stationary process is based on its mean and its autocorrelations, and the independent increment process depends on its non-overlapping, and the micro process depends on its past percent and its future, and the normal process depends on whether its xt are jointly normal. So the static sense stationary process depends on its statistics, and white noise depends on its expectation and also its autoconvolution. And the mean ergodic process depends on its expectation and its limitation. So the final is the martingale process depends on its expectation